Hey there, today I'm going to be talking about two stocks that are very relevant in the news that have been a part of my portfolio. One of those stocks I made a very unwise decision on recently, so I'll tell you about that. And the other one is a stock where if a lot of people were in my position, they would be very tempted to make a move, but I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to. Salutations, fellow investors. My name is Mark, and this is the Stealthy Wealth channel. If you're not already a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button below. It'll help the channel grow and help me reach more people, and I would really appreciate that. So today I want to talk about two relevant stocks in the news today, and two stocks that have been in my portfolio. One of them still is in my portfolio, but one of them's not. And I want to talk to you about a mistake I made with the one that I sold out of. And I'm also going to talk about a mistake that I'm trying to avoid, that I think a lot of people would fall into the trap of making a mistake in terms of the other stock. So if you saw my most recent video, I talked about a philosophy that I always try to stick to when it comes to buying stocks, and that is to always buy stocks with the intent to hold long term. At the very least, I want to be holding for 3 years, but in all honesty, I buy stocks with the intention of pretty much holding, for all intents and purposes, indefinitely until I need to pull money out to retire with. That's pretty much the only reason I would ever want to sell out of a stock that I purchase. I want to, when I purchase a stock, I'm intending to hold it for years and years and years. That is how I make smart investments. That forces me to do my due diligence and research a company and ensure that I'm going to be making a wise decision. Because I don't want to just guess when I make a purchase that I intend to be holding for the long term. So anyway, the first stock that I want to talk about is Alibaba. This is a stock that I've held on to for quite a long time. Definitely hadn't hit the 3-year mark at the time that I sold it, but in the end, I did end up selling it much earlier than I wanted to. My philosophy is hold things for at least 3 years or more, but at the end of the day, I am a human being. Sometimes I don't stick to my own philosophy, and I know other folks run into that situation as well. So the easiest way I can explain how this didn't work out for me is to actually show you a chart of Alibaba. All right, so this is a 5-year chart for Alibaba stock, and I got into it kind of midway through 2019. It was, around 160, 170 bucks, probably right around in here is when I entered into the stock. And as you can see, after purchasing it, I had a fair amount of growth ahead of me that I enjoyed. The stock rocketed up. As I said, I was buying right around here in the $170 range. It rocketed all the way up to well over $300. So I was very happy with that investment, and I continued to believe that this was a stock that I was going to hold for many, 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 many years. But then, as you can see, after October of 2020, it started to fall. And actually, right by this trough here, I actually started to load up on some more shares and average up on my cost basis. So I started buying in this $220 to $250 range because I thought it was a good opportunity. So it had dropped for a few months, and I wasn't worried at all. I just thought it was an opportunity to buy more. But then it started to drop more and more and more. And after about 6 months of it dropping, I was a bit frustrated because I didn't see a good reason as to why it continued to drop, but it continued to drop. And as you can see, it went down far further and further and further until we get down to about, here. And I sold right before this trough. So if I focus in on a 6 month, for example, okay, I sold right around October 1st is when I sold. So October 1st, that was just a few days before it hit bottom. And on October 1st, did I believe Alibaba was a bad company? No, I didn't. I still felt it was a great company. It was just after almost a year of watching the stock fall with really no good reason in my mind. I got scared. I panicked. I did exactly what investors aren't supposed to do, and I sold. So at no point did I think Alibaba was a bad company, but it tested my will. It tested my ability to hold on to a stock as it dropped and dropped and dropped. And unfortunately, it got to the point after almost a full year of dropping for no reason, I finally sold it. And I couldn't have timed it much worse. So as you can see, just a few days before the trough, that's when I sold. And look at how it's rocketed back up. Alibaba actually, rocketed up about 30% from when it hit its trough. And it looks like it has dipped a little bit here recently, but still, I lost a lot of money because I decided to sell down here, which was a very poor decision. Okay, the next stock I want to talk about is Tesla. And if you are a follower of the stock market at all, you probably know that Tesla is in the middle of a huge bull run right now. The stock price has gone up substantially over the last few weeks. And it's very tempting for a lot of folks when they hold a stock like Tesla to consider selling it and taking some profits when a bull run like the current one happens. And it would be even more tempting to sell the stock if you happen to believe that the current valuation for Tesla, or whatever stock it is that you're holding that's gone on a run, if you believe that that stock is overvalued, it becomes even more tempting to sell and take some profits. I don't do that. As long as I believe the company is still strong, it's got growth ahead of it, I don't play the game of trying to sell when I believe the stock is overvalued and try to re-enter and rebuy the stock when I feel like the stock price has dropped to a more appropriate level. I just don't do that. As soon as you start down that road of guessing or making decisions based on what you think the stock price is relative to the company itself or relative to where you think it might go in the short term, in my opinion, you're heading down a very dangerous path. You're deviating further and further from a path of making wise, smart decisions and veering towards a more dangerous, more more of a gamble type situation where you're trying to guess what a stock is going to do in the short term, go up or down. And that's when you start seeing YouTubers who basically spend all of their time reading a chart and saying, oh well, here's lines or points of support, and I think it's going to go on a run here and down in 2 hours over here. And whenever you start seeing a YouTuber doing that or an investor doing that somewhere on social media, I'm not going to tell you don't listen to them. You can, or don't watch them. You can watch or listen to whoever you want. Just know that that's more of a gambler's method of trading stocks, where it's more of a hobby, or at least I hope that it's a hobby for those people who are only putting in money that they can afford to lose. It's not a strategy or not something that I would get involved with if you actually place a heavy importance on the money that you're putting into the stock market. If the money that you're putting in to the stock market is very precious and important to you, my suggestion is to only deal with long-term plays where you do a lot of research in the companies that you invest in. So anyway, when it comes to Tesla, I think a lot of people in my position would be very tempted to sell. I'll probably piss some people off when I say this. I don't see a whole lot of people out there putting together a compelling argument that would suggest that Tesla's current valuation is actually attractive or appropriate. I don't think that's the case. I do think Tesla is overvalued right now. And I would not be surprised, especially in the short term, if Tesla's stock price plummets quite a bit from where it is now. That being said, I have no intentions on selling. There are some people out there with some very rosy projections on how many cars they think that Tesla can sell in the future. I've seen estimates up to like 10 million cars a year. Frankly, I think that's preposterous. I don't think Tesla's ever going to get anywhere near a point where they are selling 10 million cars per year. They would have to maintain an insane market share, which I just don't think is possible. I do believe that they are going to, little by little, lose some market share, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's definitely not a bad thing because the EV market is going to grow so much overall. That's not a worry. Folks also talk about the revenue streams that are available because of autonomous driving and robo-taxi networks. I think those could be very profitable things in the future, but still, I don't see it adding up to the trillion-dollar valuation where Tesla is right now. So with all of that in mind, you might be asking, well, why wouldn't you sell the stock right now? Well, it's because I believe in Tesla's team so much. With Elon Musk at the helm, Elon Musk is such a visionary, and when you take that into account and group it with the awesome team of engineers and brilliant people that are at Tesla, I'm confident that they are going to find revenue streams that eventually will grow Tesla in size N2 profits that make that $1 trillion valuation make sense. Do I know what those revenue streams are? No, I sure don't. I don't think anybody knows what those revenue streams are. Tesla itself may not even know what those revenue streams are. But I have confidence, because of the type of team they've built, because of the type of company that they've built that is very tech savvy, they're going to find problems that exist out in the world, and they will use technological solutions to solve those problems. And those problems and solving those problems will create revenue streams in the future. So I'm still confident in the long term that Tesla will continue to grow. And because I am such a believer in Tesla, even though the current stock price or the current valuation of the company doesn't really make much sense to me, I have no intention on selling. So tell me what your thoughts are. What do you think about me selling my Alibaba stock? Was that a stupid decision? Yeah, clearly, so far it looks like it may have been. And what do you think about my decision to hold on to Tesla stock, even though I believe that the company is overvalued right now? Let me know what you think. Comment below. I would really appreciate it. And please, please, please give me a thumbs up for this video if you enjoyed anything in it whatsoever. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm. So that's it for this video. I look forward to the next time we meet.